You're on mute, I guess, Prabhu.
Prabhu, Jamdagni is giving class today.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Hare Krishna, devotees, welcome to our daily morning Srīmad Bhagavatam discussion. So, we're discussing Srīmad Bhagavatam. So, we are in Canto 1, chapter 19, and today we're going to discuss verse number 15. Thank you, Prabhuji. Tammopayatam pratiyantu vipra Ganga cha devi dhrita chittamishe Dvijopasrastah kuhakastakshako va Dashatva alam gayata Vishnu gatah. What were translations? Tam, for that reason, ma, may, upayatam, taken shelter of, pratiyantu, just accept me, vipraha, O Brahmanas, Ganga, Mother Ganges, cha, also, Devi, direct representative of the Lord, dhrita, taken into, chitta, heart, ishe, unto the Lord, dvija upasrastaha, created by the Brahmana, kuhakaha, something magical, takshakaha, the snake bird, va, either, dashatu, let it bite, alam, without further delay, gayata, please go on singing, Vishnu, gataha, narration of the deeds of Vishnu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. O Brahmanas, just accept me as a completely surrendered soul and let Mother Ganges, the representative of the Lord, also accept me in that way, for I have already taken the lotus feet of the Lord unto my heart. Let the snake bird or whatever magical thing the Brahmana created bite me at once. I only desire that you all continue thinking the deeds of Lord Vishnu. Would anyone like to read the purport, please? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, I can read.
Thank you, Mataji.
As soon as one is given up completely onto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, he is not at all afraid of death. The atmosphere created by the presence of great devotees of the Lord on the bank of the Ganges and Maharaj Parikshit's complete acceptance of the Lord's lotus feet were sufficient guarantee to the king for going back to Godhead. He thus became absolutely free from all fear of death. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashtiprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So devotees, we're continuing discussion on Srīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, verse number 15. So in the last verse 14, we discussed how Maharaj Parikshit was saying to the sages that Krishna has graciously taken over him in the form of the Brahmana's curse. And this is because of Maharaj Parikshit being, he's saying, because of me being too attached to the family. And that the Lord, in order to save him, has appeared before him so that out of fear, he will detach himself from the affairs of the world. So then we also discussed how Maharaj Parikshit welcomed the presence of the great rishis as a mark of favor of Lord. So he's seeing that if devotees are present, that means Lord is present. Why? Because Lord resides in the heart of devotees. So in a very famous bhajan, E Baro Karuna Karo, Narottam Das Thakur says in one of the verses, Tumara hridoye sada Govinda Vishram Govinda kohena mora Vaishnava paran. So Narottam Das Thakur is addressing Vaishnavacharyas and saying, your heart is always the resting place of Govinda. But Lord Govinda says, the Vaishnavas are in my heart. So he's saying that your heart is resting place of Govinda. So this is actually true in both sense. So one is in the physical sense, in the sense, actually the Lord resides in everyone's heart, not just Vaishnavas, Acharyas, everyone's heart as Paramatma. So one says this is not just true for Vaishnava Acharya, this is true for every living entity, even animals, even worms. So Lord is living as Paramatma in everyone's heart. But what it actually means is the Lord is inside the heart of the Vaishnava Acharya as the only object of love or as the prime object of love. So this is the quality of the Vaishnavas, that he is always desiring for serving the Lord, of association with Lord's devotees. So the Lord is always in devotee's heart. But what to say about devotees? The devotees are also in Lord's heart, because how as much as Lord is dear to the devotee is actually even more dear to the Lord, because Krishna is supreme. So we cannot even beat Krishna's quality of loving us as well. So we can also not love someone to that extent, because Lord is supreme. He can love us even more than we can love him. So Krishna is saying, Govinda kohena mura Vaishnava paran. Krishna is, Narottam Das Thakur is saying, the Vaishnava are in my heart. And in today's verse, Maharaj Parikshit is saying, and is actually requesting the Brahmanas to accept him as a completely surrendered soul to the lotus feet of Krishna. So that's the theme of today's verse, surrender. And then he's also praying that may that snake, but Takshak, bite him at once and end his material existence of this body, and that he only desires singing the glories of the Lord. So such a wonderful mood Maharaj Parikshit is portraying towards the end of his life. He's got curse and he's taking this as a blessing, and he's saying, may this happen now, let me just get finished with and just continue to sing glories of Lord. So this mood is very similar to the mood of Vritrasura. So Vritrasura, he was Maharaj Chitraketu in the previous birth, and then he was a very, very wonderful devotee of the Lord, Maharaj Chitraketu, but somehow due to an offense, he got a curse to become a demon in the next life. And when he was on the battlefield, he saw his enemy Indra. So he was fighting against Indra, and he saw Indra very morose, very dejected, because Indra was very fearful that actually Vritrasura is so powerful, he's so ghastly that he will actually lose the war. He was actually scared of Vritrasura. He was very morose. And Vritrasura, although Indra was his opponent, he was his enemy, but because Vritrasura himself was a pure devotee of the Lord, even though being a demon, he spoke to Indra and tried to motivate him to have faith in the Lord, to have faith in Lord's words and continue his duty of fighting. So uncanny that Lord actually gave assurance to Indra before the fight that if you follow this, you'll win. Still, he got morose. And Dhritarashtra is the enemy. He hasn't got any support of the Lord, any assurance, but he, because being a pure devotee of the Lord, understands the will of the Lord from his heart and knows, Indra, you're gonna win because Lord has give you assurance. So just have faith in him and continue fighting me. So enemy was, he was motivating his enemy Indra. So while doing that, he offered some very nice prayers to Lord. In the first prayers, he mentioned, Aham Hare Tav Padai Kamula Dasanu Daso Bhavitasmi Bhuyaha Manaha Smareta Supatir Gunamste Grinitava Karma Karoti Kaya. So he's praying to the Lord, O my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, will I again be able to be a servant of your eternal servants who find shelter only at your lotus feet? O Lord of my life, may I again become their servant so that my mind always think of your transcendental attributes, my words always glorify those attributes, and my body always engage in loving service of your Lordship. So actually, this is what it means by taking shelter of Lord's lotus feet. It is not that once we take shelter, we stay and do nothing, and then we say, "Oh, now my life will be looked after because I've taken shelter." So real shelter means manaha smaretas supater gunamste grinita va karma karoti kaya. That means, Lord, I want my mind to always think of your transcendental attributes, your name, your form, your qualities, your pastimes. My words, once I am meditating on those things, on attributes, then my mind, I want my words to glorify those attributes, your name, your forms, your qualities, your pastimes. And then once I do glorify that, I want to actually engage in practical, loving, devotional service to you. So this is called shelter. So this is very important for us to understand that this shelter is not a stationary state. It's not a stagnant state. It's moving. And then in the next prayer, he says, Nana kaprishtam na chaparameshtam na sarvabhaumam na rasadhipatyam na yoga siddhera punarbhavam va samanjasatva virahaya kangshe. So he's praying to the Lord and he's actually telling what I don't want. He's saying, Oh my Lord, source of all opportunities, I do not desire to enjoy in Dhruvaloka or heavenly planets or planet where Lord Brahma resides. Nor do I want to be the supreme ruler of all earthly planets or the lower planetary systems. I do not desire to be the master of the mystic yoga, nor do I desire liberation, nor do I want liberation if I have to give up your lotus feet. So he's saying, once I attain your lotus feet, which is this state of engaging once, as Sakira Prabhu used to use this acronym very often, BMW, serving the Lord with BMW, body, mind, and words, as Ritrasura said in the first prayer. So he's saying, I don't want any of this thing if I have to give up your lotus feet. And giving up lotus feet means giving this, meditating on the Lord, thinking about the Lord, glorifying the Lord, and actually serving the Lord. So if I have to give up the lotus feet of the Lord, I don't want any other thing. I don't want to trade this lotus feet with anything else in this world that the other people want. So here Ritrasura is stating that he doesn't desire anything as long as he has the lotus feet of the Lord. And in today's verse also, in parallel, Maharaj Parikshit is saying, "O Ganga Devi," because he was sitting in the banks of Ganga, he's saying, "O Ganga Devi, whose representative of Supreme Lord, please accept me as I have already taken Lord's lotus feet into heart. Dhrita Chittam Isha." The verse said, Dhrita Chittam Isha. So, because I've taken to the lotus feet of the Lord, so, consider me your own, as your own servant. So please accept me. And then in the last verse, in his prayer, Ritrasura says, in the next verse is saying, Mammo tamashlo kajaneshu sakhyam samsara chakre bhramita svakarmabhi Tvanmayayatma majadaragesha asakta chittasya nanatha bhuyat. So he's saying, oh my Lord, I'm wandering throughout this material world as a result of my fruitive activities. Therefore, I simply ask in the association of your pious and enlightened devotees, and my attachment to my body, wife, and children, home is continuing by spell of your external energy. But I wish to be attached to them no longer. Let my mind, my consciousness, my everything I have attached to you only. So this is very similar to Maharaj Parikshit's mood, because in the last words he was saying, because me being too much attached to my family, the Lord had to directly intervene in the form of this Brahmana's curse. And how Maharaj Parikshit is taking this curse, which is nothing but Lord intervention intervention to deliver his pure devotee as a blessing. So Maharaj Parikshit was taking this curse as a blessing. So very, we see a lot of parallels. So we see parallels or similarities between Vritrasura and Maharaj Parikshit. And what are the three key themes? Firstly, they both are pure devotees of the Lord. So that's why they are thinking very similar. Secondly, they both had no fear of death. We see Vritrasura, he's on the battlefield. It's a battlefield. It's a battle of life and death, and he is inspiring. He is motivating his morose, dejected enemy, which he has actually, deflated his ego because of his force. He is actually motivating him. Come on, fight and defeat me. So he has no fear of death because he knows the will of the Lord, and he is happy to surrender to the will of the Lord. And similarly, Maharaj Parikshit in the verse today says, because he was, who can pray like this to Brahmanas, please accept me. I have got nothing else. I've just accepted to the lotus feet of the Lord. Because he has no fear of death. He's saying, let that takshat bite me, Who can say that? One who has no fear of death. So, very similar parallel between Vritrasura and Maharaj Parikshit. And then the third is, the both are surrendering to Krishna and consider lotus feet of Krishna as their final destination, as their topmost destination. So see, devotees are actually desiring for lotus feet of Krishna, which is thinking of serving Krishna with body, mind, and words. And in this theme of surrender, I was listening to a class of Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj, and he very summarized the surrender into three stages. I think Vedavi Mataji also touched on this yesterday. So he very nicely categorized that surrender comes in three stages. So the first stage is the intellectual surrender. So in Bhagavad Gita 2.7, Krishna says, Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava pachami tvam dhama samudachetah yachreyasya nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyaste hamsadhi mam tvam prapannam. Actually, this was said by Arjuna. So Arjuna is actually saying to Krishna, and he's admitting to Krishna that he is going through confusion. He is not seeing things clearly. So Krishna, please give me guidance. So he's saying, now I'm confused. And then he's surrendering himself as a disciple. I am your disciple. Please instruct me. So this is the first step of spiritual journey, is that acknowledging that we are in a very miserable existence. That's our situation, actually. Arjuna is just our representative of a conditioned soul. We are confused about so many matters of life. So the first step is acknowledging that we need help. We need help from scriptures. We need help from devotees. We need help from the deities, from the temple. And it also reflects real honesty. So the first step of spiritual life is accepting this honesty that actually there is no happiness in this life. What I'm feeling is just absence of distress. It's like a drop of happiness comes in this ocean of sorrow. So if one is honest about that, honesty naturally leads to humility. If someone says, if someone says, I struggle to, be humble in front of some people, that's because, if someone's not humble, that means they're not honest. We don't understand our very grave situation of being present in this material body, in existing in these samsara chakra and this 8,400,000 species, understanding that we all are affected by Adi Atmic, Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik problems. Understand we are always going to be affected by birth, death, old age, and disease as long as we are in this material creation. If someone is not honest about this, he cannot be humble. Or we can say, if someone who's not humble, he's not honest about his existence. So, if one is surrendering like Arjuna to Krishna, that's shown first sign of humility and honesty, which is very important in the spiritual foundation. And if one is into that state, then at that stage, they can actually begin spiritual inquiry, understanding that I am affected by the 6 anarthas: lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, and illusion. Being very honest about it, and then said, okay, I need help. I need a doctor. So one can go either to scriptures for help, like Srīmad Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita. One can go to devotees, Vaishnavas for their guidance. One can actually get mercy of the Lord by actually serving the deities or spreading the Sankirtan movement. And get mercy of the Lord that way to get out of this condition. So that's very important. So first stage is intellectual surrender. The second stage is practical surrender, where Krishna says in 7:14, Devi Isha Gunamai Mama Maya Drutya Mamevaya Prapadyante Mayam Etam Tarantite. So Krishna says, only by surrendering unto me can one cross this divine energy. So Krishna firstly saying, okay, this energy, don't ever think that by your endeavor you can cross it. Because this is my energy, because it's Krishna's energy, it's Krishna's part. That means it's got all the backing of Krishna to bewilder people. So it's very powerful. So we cannot defeat it. But he's saying only by surrendering to me, one can cross over this divine energy, this Maya. So it's like, when we go to office, and there is a clerk or someone, a consultant, and then you're trying to get some paperwork sorted out, and they are not helping you out. They are being very, very rude. They are being difficult to you. They are finding all sorts of faults. And you think, why this person is behaving to me so badly? I want to just get this work done. But somehow or the other, if you know the CFO of the same organization, and you come in the building and he sees you, and he said, oh, I know him, come to my office. Then you don't have to work hard. If the CFO knows you, your work will get done automatically somehow or the other. You don't need to worry about other people in the hierarchy stopping your work. So similarly, in our life, if we want to cross this divine, this Maya, we just need to surrender to the internal energy of the Lord. And the Maya will not disturb us from then onwards. And how can we do that? By doing practical surrender, by practicing surrender. And how do we practice surrender? This is by committing to part of Krishna consciousness, by the process of daily sadhana, by chanting, by offering food to the Lord, by following the 9 processes of devotional service that we have discussed so many times, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, and so on. So if we practically do this, so this is a practical surrender. This is not a stagnant surrender. It's a perpetual ongoing surrender that we have to commit to, which is part of Krishna consciousness. And the third stage of surrender is complete surrender. So we discussed intellectual surrender, we discussed practical surrender, and third stage is complete surrender. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in 18.66, Sarva dharma parityaja mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma suchaha. So Krishna instructs Arjuna, abandon all varieties of dharma and just surrender unto me. So this is the deepest surrender of all. Why? Because earlier, everything was about me. So when one is doing intellectual surrender, it's about, I am in trouble. Krishna, help me. I am surrendering. I am in trouble. Devotees, help me. I am in trouble. I want some service to get out of it. Next is practical surrender. Okay, I'm going to do chanting to get out of this. I'm going to do, remember Krishna because I want to. It's all about I. It's about me at the center. But when we do complete surrender, one completely aligns with Krishna's will. Then it's no more about what's in for me. It's all about Krishna's, what is your will? And I know your will, and I'm going to act as per your will. So just like the residents of Vrindavan, it means how they are always walking with Krishna. They are always not thinking about, are we going in the right direction or the wrong direction? Or there's going to be a demon here, there's going to be a demon there. They're just trusting Krishna and just walking alongside him, completely careless, because they just want to follow Krishna. They just want to follow Krishna's will. So similarly, even if our life is difficult and we see events unfolding with us, a devotee doesn't challenge them. Devotees understands this is Krishna's will. And what we see a similar parallel with what Maharaj Parikshit and Ritrasura were stating as well. That they see that Ritrasura was about to die, but he is motivating Indra because he knows Lord's will. Maharaj Parikshit, wonderful devotee of the Lord, he could have counter-cursed Shringi. He could have given justification and asked for a reversal. He could have embarrassed, Shamik Rishi because of what his son has done. He could have spread the word about how he was right and other people did him wrong, but he didn't do anything. As Varasdevika Mataji very nicely mentioned in her class, he didn't do any of those things. He just accepted this as will of Krishna. He accepted this curse as Krishna's direct intervention to remove Maharaj Parikshit from his family attachments. That's how a devotee says things. So when adversities come in our lives, we need to see as will of Lord. And when happiness come in our life, we also be detached from it as well and see as will of Krishna, but continue in our practical surrender, which is following the process of devotional service. And why do we find this surrender difficult? So Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj very nicely says, it's because we lack full realization of Krishna. We lack faith. And in faith in what? So that Krishna knows everything. He is omniscient. So sometimes we have so many problems in our mind and we think, oh, no one knows what I'm going through. Only if he knew what I'm going through, he will feel my pain. But actually, no one knows it. But there is only one person who knows it. What we know is Krishna, because he is omniscience. He's a witness. He's Upadrishta. He's sanctioner. He's Anumanta. So he is completely overseeing and witnessing everything. So he knows everything. So we can always be, if we can think Krishna knows everything, you feel a bit relaxed. Okay, someone's already heard me. I don't want to now, play my drum in front of other people that what I'm going through. Krishna knows everything. Of course, we should seek help if we, opening our hearts to Vaishnavas always help. But once one stage to a really high realization, they can actually talk to Krishna also. And then we don't have the faith that Krishna can do everything because he is omnipotent. Sometimes we have this problem. We think, okay, Krishna, you also know. I have even spoken this to you, but we don't have trust that Krishna can change it because that problem seems so insurmountable as a mountain. But we have to understand that Krishna is omnipotent. He can do everything. Actually, he is doing that. This problem also in our life is a part of his potency because he wants us to get to a certain destination, but we cannot just see it. We can only see it retrospectively a few years down the line and say, oh my God, Krishna, you are so kind. You are trying to make this wonderful arrangement in our life. And I was thinking you are making me go through all the adversities. I could not see your blessing at that time. I'm sorry, Krishna. So if we see retrospectively, we will actually always see that Krishna has been so merciful. And the third is we don't have faith, that we don't have actually compassion, and that's why we don't act with love. So as we grow spiritually, that we have to develop trust in these qualities, that Krishna is omniscience, Krishna is omniscient, Krishna is omnipotent, and then Krishna has the most compassion. He feels for us. He wants the best for us. And that will make our surrender easier. And then we discussed that surrender is not it's not a one-time event. It's an ongoing practice. It's a perpetual ongoing practice. Even, when devotees take to sannyasa, Keshav Maharaj mentioned that sannyasa is an opportunity for a deeper surrender. And my Guru Maharaj, his name is Kadam Swami Maharaj, I was hearing an initiation lecture from him, and he was saying, actually, there is no difference as such between a sannyasi, a brahmachari, or a grasta, or a vanaprastha in terms of surrender. Anyone can surrender. A grasta can even more surrender than a sannyasi or a brahmachari. It's possible. But the only difference the sannyas order gives, it gives more time to the living entity so that they can focus on the main purpose of life. So it's just the time. But of course, a grasta like Bhakti Vinod Thakur, even staying as a grasta, can be more Krishna conscious than so many of sannyasis as well. So it's possible, but it just gives them more time being sannyasi, because one is officially renouncing all kind of material activities except Krishna consciousness. So basically, each situation is an opportunity to surrender. Or each state, we can think, oh, if I was this, I will be surrendering more. If I was a poor person, I'll be better. If I am a rich person, I'll be better. But Radhanand Maharaj very nicely says, if you think that, you are in Maya. So we can surrender at any moment, given in any condition. And then it was last mentioned about fear of death. The Prabhupada writes that even if we fail to go back to God at the end of the life, we can be actually born in a family that will awaken our Krishna consciousness. And actually Krishna very elaborately speaks about this in the 6th chapter, that what happens to a man who doesn't achieve success in material or spiritual spheres. And Krishna actually assures Arjuna that a devotee is never overcome by evil. Our devotion will always be protected. And while our devotion is protected, but whatever mundane activities we are doing, they will not be protected. Whatever material opulences and wealth we are accumulating and focusing our life on, unfortunately, that will not be protected. So we should not waste our time in these material enjoyments and collection of material things in our life and material goals in our life, because we know that they have an expiry date. So we should focus more on our spiritual life that we're going to take to our next destination. And on this theme of surrender, there is a very nice bhajan called by Bhaktivinoda Thakur called Manasa Deho Geho, and in which in stanza 5 he very nicely says that may I be born again even as a worm, so as long as I remain your devotee, I have no desire to be born as a Brahma averse to you. So even if one desiring material wealth, what is the topmost position one can aspire for? That's the position of Lord Brahma. He is at the top of the food chain. He is the first and the topmost living entity. And here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, I don't even want to be born as a Brahma. If that Brahma is averse to you, if he's acting like an opposite to your will, I don't want to be that Brahma. I am happy to even be born as a worm as long as I remain your devotee. So there's so much to say about surrender, but of course, there's not enough time. So I'll stop here, and I would like to ask everyone, devotees, if they have any questions or comments or realizations that they would want to share. Hare Krishna. If not, Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru
Thank you,
Srila
Prabhu.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Sorry,
Hare
Prabhu. Thank you for a nice class. It was very wonderful. Monday morning. I want to share one thing. Prabhupada also mentioned, work now, samadhi later. So sometimes we think, okay, surrender means, if I just surrender, that means I don't have to do anything. But Prabhupada strenuously mentioned that work now, samadhi later. That means he was looking at, making Krishna conscious the entire world. And he was telling his devotees that, we can make the entire world Krishna conscious in 18 days. And the devotee says, wow, Prabhupada, so, how can you do that? And Prabhupada chuckled and he said, but you are not ready. So this way, we have to understand that while we are, trying to perfect our own lives, we have to work now samadhi later to help others also. So whatever initiatives are going on to spread Krishna consciousness within our temple, somehow or the other, we should think proactively as to how can I serve in that mission, somehow or the other. Just take up some service of whatever initiative you can be part of. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing your wonderful realizations and recommendations. Okay, Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious day, dear devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jagannath Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you for such an instructional class. All glories to your service.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. All
Thank
glories
you,
to Prabhupada.
Prabhu. Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.